hey, the developers at Blizzard have formed a wall-to-wall union known as the World of Warcraft Game Makers Guild. Over
So
500 developers across the entire dev team got that shit done.
so um Blizzard has always been like anti-union, the company, and then
Unless
they went to get owned by Microsoft, and within 3 weeks we're saying Bethesda is wholly unionized, Blizzard is wholly unionized, and we're like, if only there was a reason these companies would be scrambling to get unions as fast as possible.
where did these swords of Damocles start? When did you start hanging those up in the offices? When did the floor start becoming lava? What's going on over here?
Congratulations, Blizzard. Congratulations, Bethesda. You have now protected yourselves from the incoming layoffs that were going to hit you this year, probably.
Yeah, nuclear launch aborted. We'll see what happens. At the very least, they'll have to take it back to the negotiating table. But hey, whatever it takes to get it done. Am I right? Like,
these are big companies.
You're there.
Too. It would be nice to see this like roll on through and have more unions in the game biz. Like, what needs to happen is for them to renegotiate with Microsoft and have it become public that layoffs would have been on the table, but instead a different deal gets to be reached. So other companies can go, hey, wait a second. If we had a union, maybe we could avoid layoffs.
So it's not like peace times are what push labor towards getting that shit done in any other field.
It's threat.
You know what I mean? Like, whenever this has happened historically, it's because the fucking wolves are at the door. So, there you go. This is what it is. Same situation. Get it done. You know, if people are otherwise kind of like, let's wait and see, it's not that big a deal, well, then it's like, all right, well, now that it's in the situation where that's about to happen and that's more imminent, push comes to shove, right? I think that's always been the case, and this is no different.
I also think that World of Warcraft's devs have more strike power than most game devs because their game can't stop for even 1 day.
For 1 second, right.
Right?
MMOs are in that unique position, or live service.
WoW
anything.
would start to just disintegrate if people were not like fixing it every second of the day.
I mean, shit. Well, speaking of Blizzard here, and Actiblizzard on that note, if things might start going crazy, things might start falling apart. Someone might hit a switch that forces a bunch of Call of Duty players to be matched up with people of equal skill.
So I didn't get through the whole paper.
Oh, were you reading it? Yeah. Okay. So 25-page study where they secretly turned skill-based they tested out the results of skill-based matchmaking in Call of Duty and then tested it on and off. And so the results are, the TLDR is that everyone hates it off, and essentially it works when it's on, but the A/B testing was also more or less kind of proved that people that were just kind of against this are more or less just streamers that want to pub stomp on people while they can stream and not really focus and flex on online, but for the most part skill-based matchmaking fucking works. Is that the correct takeaway of the 25-page article? Okay.
There are a lot of interesting pieces you can pull out, and so I have not finished reading the whole thing. I got a couple pages in, but then I got distracted. So there's a couple takeaways you can pull away like immediately. The first of which is that they describe the series of factors that matter in matchmaking. Factor number 1 with a bullet that is the most important matchmaking priority is connection. How good is the connection between you and the other person?
That's brought up right away in the abstract, yeah.
Number 2 is how long is it going to take you to match, right? Number 3 for Call of Duty is playlist diversity. Number 4 is the recent map that you just played or recent mode to vary it up. And down at number 5 of 8 priority is approximate skill level between lobbies and players. So even in the abstract, skill-based matchmaking is the 5th priority of all matchmaking priorities.
Beneath which comes input device, platform, and then voice chat.
Yeah. So following that, I don't know how many people either took or remember their university statistics course, but one of the takeaways from this white paper is that if you disable skill-based matchmaking, you end up with a much wider variety, much greater prevalence of one-sided blowouts in either direction, right? Mm-hmm. So either you completely blow them out or you get completely blown out because there's nothing that's trying to accommodate or nudge it at all.
NBA players are doing pickup games with kids in grade 4.
Maybe,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
So there's a reason for this, and part of statistics, you can go into something called game theory, and one of the simplest concepts in it is the way that win streaks happen in sports, but you can visualize it and interpret it according to coin flips. So let's say you had a quarter, like an American quarter, and you flipped it, right? It's a 50-50 chance of it'll land heads or tails, right? Now, if you flip it 100 times, you could assume that it would, with some margin of error, land 50 heads, 50 tails, right? And that would repeat for no matter how many times you flip it, right? The more times you flip it, the less that significant error would occur. However, if you flip it enough times in a row, weird freak patterns start to show up in your data. If you flip a coin 100,000 times in a row, you will end up with situations in which it will land heads like 500 times in a row.
Right. None of which...
Because that's just how it happens.
Right, and the statistical significance, it doesn't change anything. It's the outcome is still the outcome. You're still at 50-50.
Right. So
but
if
the
you
patterns
have really...
will... Within random.
So if you have really large numbers, you'll get weird streaks.
Right.
And this can be applied to professional sports. This is why some years this team that is altogether average is going to have a winning streak of 100% of their games. Because you're playing enough games all the time that eventually the numbers are just going to run out, that they got lucky on every jump, they got lucky on every free throw, etc. And you'll also have teams that are rated top just fall to pieces and have a terrible fucking season for no reason because they they lost every possible statistical coin toss over and over and over.
Assuming that we're playing with it's not like one person on the field.
Yeah, right. It's all a big factor.
Yes, yeah,
right.
Sure.
But when you compare it to matchmaking, which is having millions of games a day, right? It's like, well, if you don't do anything to juice the numbers or nudge it one way or the other, eventually you are going to have people that are being placed into winning streak lobbies over and over and over and over. And that's the high that the quote unquote content creator for Call of Duty is chasing. They're chasing, well, if it's totally unregulated and I do this, I'm just going to blow out all the noobs because I'm, at this performance delta above the other person, right? However, the opposite is also true. People will run into 100 long game streaks of Call of Duty of being completely blown out to shit. And at that point, they will just stop playing. And the reason for that is that with all this weird statistical goofiness, even if you have a 50% chance of a total win in like a total blowout in your favor or a total blowout in their favor. Losses feel twice as bad as wins feel good.
Shoutouts Leon Massey and Corey Gaming.
Because people have what's called loss aversion. And in loss aversion, if you could lose $10 on a bet, you would have to be offered $20 on a bet for you to feel like it's worth it. So if you don't have any controls at all, more people will have a worse time overall forever. You need to nudge it some way. In high school, your coach should have looked at the kids and split the two fat kids into opposing teams.
Nah.
They should have looked at me and the other kid who was short like me called Chris. Don't put us on the same team. That's ridiculous.
Nah, but then I can't make my highlights set to 30-second to Mars, bro. I need to stream and get those 360 no scopes.
In high school pickup games at recess, you would see all the kids that were good at basketball form into one team, and they had a great time. And the kids who weren't good at basketball had such a bad time, they stopped playing pickup games at recess.
Yeah, the team that was skins was probably crushing it. The ones that were willing to pull the shirt off, and the shirts just fucking ate shit. Exactly. That's interesting. I didn't know that the term was the hot hand fallacy. That's
yeah. Well, it happens in poker too. You're on a winning streak, and you're like, I must be really good. It's like, no, a lot of games of poker are being played. Eventually, someone is just going to guess right 100% of the time.
Yeah.
This doesn't mean you're blessed. You should in fact quit while you're ahead.
The roulette, like showing the results of the last couple of spins or the last couple of result, black, white, or green, black, red, or green on the board, and like God, Min hit that so hard. He was like, "No, I see the pattern though." Like
It's one of those things where human beings are really bad at imagining certain numbers over a certain amount. Like thinking of 1 million is kind of beyond us. It's so far beyond our hunter-gatherer roots of like 150 people, right? But all you need to know is that numbers get fucking stupid if the numbers get big enough. Stupid, weird shit starts to happen. And constantly yelling about how you actually want the tyranny of numbers back on you is like, no, actually, people, it's been shown over and over and over in every study, particularly in games, that what's actually fair doesn't feel fair.
And so this it kind of has a side interesting discussion here of like, so you have in a fighting game skill-based to everything, which is your ranked mode. You have a casual mode, which will let you connect to anyone in any circumstance. But depending on the game, in some cases, they'll still let it be like completely asymmetric. And there is a moment when you show up to a tournament and you play in a bracket where you are randomly distributed. You know, but what happens after each round of that is you're essentially in a sequence of placement matches that then determine where you end up, except the end result is the final placement of the event. You know, it's if you want to have a game designed around the idea of like the results are just you are always randomized in the group you play with, and you have very little control over that, and you just want to curb stomp or whatever. Like, I feel as if so I'm not sure how this should apply to like a game where it has like a key mode, like a Call of Duty or Warzone or something like that. But like, if you have a ranked versus unranked option, I feel like you can give that to people, you know, and it might, but like the version of it that's like fully true, random, casual, whatever it is, might deal with like population problems depending on how you know, whether the game is like when that Gundam game came out, for example, and it was like, oh, one of these modes just doesn't work because no one's ever in it, so there's just no point in queuing up for it, right?
I think ranked versus unranked causes a bunch of other weird problems that are really hilarious. So like, let's take Street Fighter 6 for example, right? I've played unranked. It feels like shit. Like either I stomp someone out like they're a child and they might be a child, or someone in master rank makes me feel like a child. Like there's no in between.
There are in between sometimes, but but you never know, right? And in most cases, it's going to go hard one way or the other. And yeah, it's for me in my brain, it's like essentially like advanced practice mode, right? It's like, what if I want to just practice against a living opponent or whatever? But in the case of a game where you have to deal with the population and of a given mode, making sure that every if you could always find the right amount of people for every mode, for every playlist on everything, then offering more game modes should not present a problem.
So,
but that doesn't apply to most games. That does apply, I guess, to Call of Duty because it's central.
So I am not familiar enough with the statistics behind what's called ELO on this, but one of the more fascinating things about ranked multiplayer and the problems in it is, I want to say it's silver in League of Legends is impossible to escape because you're dealing with 10 players. Every individual skill level is like diminished in terms of the thing, but the only thing that matters is the win percentage. And like people of certain like higher skill levels can become trapped in what I'm seeing people call ELO hell, in which your skill level is not representative of your thing, but because the way the matchmaking is counting wins and losses, you become like literally trapped because bads can pull you down and keep you in the lower rank.
Because you're not playing a game where you are the sole determinant of your outcome.
You are 20%.
Yeah, right.
Of the total determiner.
Also, I want to say there was an ELO system that had I think like Rising Thunder's initial ranking was using this, but it's like early on in, until it hones in on your exact level, you're going to literally switch between levels way beneath you and levels way above you, so you will alternate between getting stomped and curb stomping other people until it narrows it down to the middle. But you just get this wild up and down where you can predictably think, I'm going to win every second match and lose every third.
Yeah,
you know.
So what's interesting is that the gentleman who was behind the matchmaking priority system on Modern Warfare 2 way back in the day, the original Modern Warfare 2, put out some statements a couple months ago. I remember reading through them. I might get some small details wrong, but the basic thing is that he viewed part of the problem of this pushback against skill-based matchmaking is that he sees that skill-based matchmaking in the modern era tries too hard to hit a 50-50 win-loss utopia.
Right.
Like the 5-5 matchup.
Right.
And by doing that and really trying to push towards that, you end up in situations where you are being given a match, and if you win it, you are going to be followed up with a match you're going to lose.
Yeah, well, that's exactly.
And vice versa, right? And so that
it's very weird. I remember seeing that.
The goal is to actually like spread out the matchmaking nudging a little bit, because you should have blowouts in both direction now and then.
And when you lose that odd-numbered match that you were supposed to win, you feel double bad.
Yeah, and it tanks you.
Yeah, because it's like, wait a minute, that was way below your skill level. You were supposed to win that one. Yeah, right.
Well, like, hey, get this. I was playing Street Fighter, and I was playing Aki, and I didn't understand Aki at all. So I did my placement matches, and my placement matches put me in, like, the top of bronze.
Sure, yeah.
And then I played it for like an hour more. I'm like, oh, I think I understand Aki now. And boy, did I have a good time in silver. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Hell yeah. And that's why they have the win streak bonus to get you the fuck out of silver and gold.
Yes. Yeah, it's like, okay, you stop, now get out. Because effectively, like, if these people are... if these Call of Duty players are the equivalent of like, I'm gonna walk around the arcade and only look for the machines with little children on them and go put my quarter in those machines.
Hell yeah.
Like, what the fuck, man? Yeah. So it is hilarious to just kind of like see this for what it is just like, okay, you're being a huge baby. All right, got it. You don't actually want a challenge, and you don't want your skill to actually be tested. You don't want,
I think,
the game to evolve.
DMs about that guy planning to do like the cancer ward Call of Duty lobbies against the sick children. I think the fact that even though that didn't even happen, like those matches didn't occur, that the fact that that would even go into someone's mind has like ruined this discussion forever, because you always think of it at some point when we're talking about this. Like, man, imagine if we could get matches on those cancer children's. The footage.
I paid, this is the way I want to play my game, etc. And again, you're teamed up, and like the fact that you have to play with other people for this, for League, for any games where you're joining a team, things I'm not used to that, and I don't know how you avoid again the jails that you're mentioning there. I don't know that, like,
there's a way. There is a way to avoid elo hell. It requires a lot of work, a lot of time, and it requires a very significant, specific life adjustment. Would you like to know how to escape elo hell?
Sure.
No, I'm serious. There's a dedicated way.
Life adjustment has got me.
Okay, you say, "Hey, Pat," and I go, "Hey, what's up?" You say, "Hey, Pat, me, Reggie, Min, and someone else are going to be spending Thursday nights from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. playing League of Legends.
Yeah. You get serious.
You come in, and we will play our matches during this thing, and we will play that every single week." And that's how you get out of elo hell.
You get serious, yeah.
However, that is unattainable to like most people to get everyone together at the same time. Bro, I've been playing with my friends in F14 since 2015, and we've like lasered in on like Sunday afternoon for like 90 minutes. It's the one thing we can all manage.
But it is funny how this debate also lasers in on the inherent difficulty of like how bad it feels to lose at a fighting game versus I'm just jumping on for a couple games. I want to shoot some kids in the head and then go to bed. Like I'm logging in to yell at a bunch of kids and call it a day, and that feels good, and then I'm out. And it's hard to beat that proposition. You're offering someone a quick feel good before bed. And that's what they're looking for. They're not looking, like, the fun is not to be had in the fair match. You know what I mean? So, it comes with the genre. It's inherent when you have to carry your wins and losses.
Like this whole discussion ends up being, like a window into why Fortnite is so popular, because Fortnite gets to have huge matches, like 100 people, right? You don't have to do a whole lot of skill distribution to have a good distribution of 100 people. And like, yes, there's some bad fucking players in every single Fortnite match. If you're like a regular functioning human being that can shoot with double analog sticks, you can take out a couple people in a fucking Fortnite match. And like the wins that I had, like, well, I won, like, I won 50 times or whatever in the time that I was playing it. It's like, I am certain I was being loaded into games with 99 children.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Like 10-year-olds.
I mean, and the fact that they built a system for Gears of War and for, Fortnite to have, like, you get it juiced when you're starting out to feel better, or fighting against bots, is just a way of, like, it's like that proves that, we know what makes people feel good, and we're going to give that to you. To hook you in. When we were talking about when WoolieVersus started like losing players, and you're like, okay, the final circle is the only circle that matters, because that first one.
Yeah, WoolieVersus did it too hard.
Right, you hit the bots.
It was too apparent that like the first 10 people you ran into were robots that suck shit.
Especially once you enter into the next league up from the beginning one, you start to just encounter it way brutal. because the population was just not there, and something had to give for a game that always requires this many people every time you start a matchup. Yeah, there's something else that I was leading to that I forgot about that, but oh yeah, that's it. So for the person we're describing, that is like, yeah, I'm just here to get my quick curb stomp in before I go to bed and go to work tomorrow. That's what my $80 was for, and my skins and my battle pass is just for that. We know that, like, when you have a super fucking close, insanely tight match and you fucking edge it out,
you sweat it out.
Holy shit, your heart's beating. That was incredible. Oh my god, that's the best, right?
Now let me do another match so I can ruin that feeling.
well, it's like, is putting player A in that B case scenario, like, do they hate that outcome and or enjoy it less?
Depends on the individual personality.
You know, like, is that personality type going to be like, I hate how close that match was. That was not exciting. It was just stressful. I just want my curb stomps.
So that it depends on individual personality. Like, right, everybody has their own different preferences. If I was gonna say like a single thing to everyone in the whole world about playing video games online, it is that there is a single thought that has caused me more anguish than anything else, which is, well, I can't go to bed until I win one. That is the most, oh my God. It is disastrous because you're only going to get worse and worse. And you're still going to go to bed on a loss.
Yeah. I had those moments. I stopped doing that. To myself. But I definitely used to have that, like, no, let's stick around until we end on a good note. And like, yeah, you're already going downhill. You know, for me, that's where it's like, all right, time to watch some replays or fucking just, you know, if you don't want to put it down just yet and you can't just turn it off and walk away and quit while you're ahead, then find some other activity to do, you know, in the game.
There's so much like fascinating player psychology going on in literally every online interaction in a game. It's fascinating. Like, here's a somewhat related example. So FF14 put out a new expansion. So I am occasionally playing FF14 while watching the child. He is crawling around. He likes to play with his own toys, and he's happy. And I check on him, and I, you know, poke his belly and give him smooches. But, you know, he's good to hang out, right? So I have a macro in FF14. I have a button I can press that says, when I start a instance dungeon, that says, hey, I am watching my baby right now. I may have to get up and chase after him for his safety. If I stop moving, I will be back in just a minute. Apology. You know, just like...
Okay, yeah.
99 times out of 100, I have been responded with, oh, yeah, there it is. I just saw someone do it. They say, okay. Then they say circle / for like, oh, yeah, okay, I got it. Yeah. Or people say, oh, no, I got 3 kids. I get it. Don't worry about it. However, I had one person respond with, geez, man, if you don't have time to play, you shouldn't even log in.
Oh, yeah.
And,
yeah.
And I'm still doing it. And like, sure enough, I had to go get the baby because he wandered over to an outlet. And I'm like, no, baby, you can't go towards the outlet.
Yeah.
And I stopped and he was bitching. And it's like, I play nearly exclusively a tank, and tanks are unpopular in Final Fantasy 14. So if I had not queued into that dungeon, that guy could wait 20 minutes. I queue in instantly. It takes 20 minutes for him. So he can't leave. He's at my convenience there. Like, if I could drop out of that dungeon and queue immediately back in within seconds. And he would be fucked. He'd have to wait for another tank to queue in 15, 20 minutes. And it's like, shut up. Shut up, you nerd.
No, like, that's a way of life. Like, acting that way online is a way of life. It's a way of de-stressing. It's a way of coping with whatever the fuck that person's life is. It's just that. The complete lack of empathy there. Yeah.
And on the other hand, I have to say that Street Fighter 6 players that live in Diamond are by and large way cooler than I would have ever expected. Because when I have been playing Street Fighter and I'm like, I have to get the baby or I've changed the baby or whatever, and it's like, whatever, some family thing happened, I am just going to put the controller down. I'm going to get up. I'm going to just let you have the match. I don't care, whatever, right? I come back to like them standing there waiting for me to come back.
Yeah. Hey. All right.
Like you do the wiggle and the jab
What's
to be
going
like,
on?
I am back now. And then the match resumes. Now I probably lost the round because they didn't realize and they just comboed me into shit.
Yeah. And then you go, hey, what's going on?
Maybe they hit me with a couple fireballs. But like I've walked back to like people standing there waiting or time overs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, oh wow, that's really nice.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that.
We're not going to get on mic, or there's no emote system to be like, explain what's going on. But it's like, oh, well, you're standing still and the game didn't disconnect. Something's up. Sure.
Yeah, no, they had to walk away for some reason.
Sure. Yeah. It is interesting. Although it's funny because like while talking about all this, I remembered too that we have the data for a lot of this shit. I brought it up when I was talking about how like Keats brought all the full gamer breakdown shit. That it has the chart of over 2 million players like and their likes and dislikes, and one of the metrics was like, you know, wanting multiplayer and wanting to deal with the feeling of victory, but not wanting to encounter skill and not wanting to encounter challenge from other players as well as execution from yourself. And it's like that was the category difference between FPS players and fighting games and other similar types of things, you know. So yeah, there's a giant what was it? It was Quantic Foundry, I believe. This huge collection of data to see exactly how many. There are people who will not enjoy a close fight with somebody of the same skill level. That'll be a bad feeling, and like how many more people feel that way versus those who do prefer that over the complete one-sided victory. You know,
we have a mention from Hatefish from a very old study. That dealt with player attitude and player skill. And the long and short of it, I'm going to paraphrase the abstract, is that the higher a person's skill level in any task, but particularly games, the less hostile they are to new people entering into that task, particularly women. Like misogynistic dickbag in your Call of Duty lobby, check his KD ratio at the end of the match. I bet it sucks.
Yeah. I imagine the type of person who's really good wants a new person to get into the thing and is very down and accommodating.
No, that's not what it is.
Really? Okay, what is it?
It's the lack of perceived threat from new entrants.
Interesting. Okay.
Low skill people have perceived threats from anyone entering into their space. And this is broadly applicable to almost everything.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay.
Hostility to new types of people entering into your space is a form of insecurity.
I was about to say, because you are not secure in your ability to win. you are definitionally not secure. There is a chance this new person that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing will take the dub. Yeah, got it.
Like you can see this in academic circles, you can see this in professional circles. People at the top of the game aren't worried about shit. Why would they be? They're at the top.
You know what you're doing. You're not. Yeah. But anyone that walks in that might be a threat, time to be a shit.
Might be a disruptor.
Damn.
Well, I'm in the spot that will be disrupted.
Uh-oh.
So, shit.
Life, everything. It's all a skill issue. It's 100% of it. That's incredible.